Let's skip forward a little bit, changing gears literally, and let's get into this high performance driving gig you've got going on for Aston Martin. I mean, it's one thing if you said, "Yeah, I'm a high performance driver for Chevy or for Ford," but no, you're Aston Martin, which is obviously the James Bond cars, and they're just sexy, sleek, and cool. But how the hell did you get into that?
So after I got out of the military, I was working as a liaison, as a product specialist for several different car companies. And one day I'm like, I'm tired of talking about them. I want to start racing them. So I called several friends that I had met that actually had professionally raced. I said, I want to do what you do. How do you do it? And the first answer was, well, start when you're 4 years old. I said, yeah, not going to happen because I'm like 30. So, okay.
Yeah.
And they actually recommend some racing schools. And I went to every racing school that was recommended to me, I went to. And eventually through networking, I was doing some public speaking at the time, talking about teamwork, effective communication, and leadership to major corporations. And I had done some work for this one gentleman before. And having gone to all those racing schools, acquired all the gear, like fire suits, racing shoes, racing gloves, Nomex, a racing helmet, the Hans device and everything, because I was serious. I really wanted to get racing now. He's like, how's that going? And eventually worked out a deal where he became a part sponsor, and we went out and we acquired other sponsors. And next thing you know, I'm racing for Nissan. I raced with them in the Grand Am Continental Tire Series. And my co-driver that I had in the endurance format also raced for a sprint format in the world, the Pirelli World Championship, PWC, which is now SRO. And so after a couple of years racing in Grand Am Continental Tire, I switched over to him, and with my sponsors, we bought a Chevy Camaro, full GT4 spec race car, and ended up racing for several years in the Pirelli World Challenge program. So went from racing Nissan to racing for Chevy professionally. Amazing environment. I loved it. I then was like, okay, you got to pick, like, are you going to continue racing professionally and put every penny and effort into it to try to make it, or create a lifestyle and come back to racing? And I kind of had a rich dad, poor dad mentors in racing. And I noticed the difference between those who didn't have money but were fantastic drivers were not getting rides, because, no matter how good they were, it was the money aspect. But those who were very good drivers with money backing always got rides. I thought, okay, time to build a lifestyle. And so then I kind of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out, ended up working with dealerships as far as like high performance driving, where those who bought Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Astons at these dealerships would eventually go to track days, and I would get hired out as the pro driver to go show them how to drive their cars or sit with them. And eventually that worked all the way up to I became one of the few high performance drivers for Aston Martin, and I worked with them exclusively for 4 or 5 years, and it was phenomenal. Great opportunity. And that was all the way up until COVID. So when the World Endurance Championship factory team from Aston Martin came into the Americas, I was part of the team that went out, that got to work with them. Not drive the car, but work with the marketing team, talk with the drivers, work with the drivers, make sure that they were where they needed to be for their presentations or signings and stuff like that outside of at the racetrack. When the Red Bull Aston Martin F1 team came to either Mexico City, to Austin, Texas, or to Montreal, I again went out with a part of the team to work with the marketing aspect of the F1 team, and also worked with the Hot Lap program that Pirelli was putting on for the F1 circuit that they took global. And that was amazing. I mean, meeting the F1 drivers, meeting some of the historic F1 drivers, working with Aston Martin, the racing side of it, working with the Red Bull team, just phenomenal. Yeah. So when a lot of the new cars came out for the public, like the DB11, the DBS, the Vantage, I would be with the car 6 months beforehand, before it even became a public thing, and working and getting those very first orders with exclusive people, or learning all about the cars, taking on test drives, giving people test drives in it so that I can properly represent the car. So it was phenomenal. It was really a great experience.
Yeah, it sounds like such an awesome deal. And I'm noticing that there's a whole other, it's like the military. You've got all this jargon you're saying that I have no clue what it means.